Mm.
George Kilpatrick Inspiration for the Nation, celebrating people we feel good about. So many people remember many years ago the Grace Children Academy, Ted and Jackie Grace, and the impact that they had on the community. And Jackie, of course, as an educator, Ted as an entrepreneur and a member of an administrator with the Chamber of Commerce before he left us tragically 20 years ago. Well, the Grace Children, who are here with me today, are having a celebration remembering Ted, Jamal, Grace 20 years later, taking place April the 20th at the Southern Missionary Baptist Church, 3143 Midland Avenue in Syracuse. We have Jabril Grace, Jody Grace, and Zinga Grace here to talk about this event that will recognize the work and the contributions of Ted Grace to the Syracuse community. So let me start with you, Zinga, because Jabril is the oldest, but he said you're the spokesperson. So let me start. Why was it important for you all to put this together? The youngest of you, Grace Children, and there are 5 of you. Why was it so important for you to put this together?
Well, first off, thank you for having us. Really appreciate it. My dad was so impactful in the community. And his legacy is real. It needs to be shared and celebrated. It's been 20 years, shockingly.
It's hard to believe, right?
Yeah, it doesn't seem that far away, but it's been 20 years, and we just really wanted to just celebrate his life. Everyone come together, share some memories, and enjoy and talk about the life that Ted Grace had.
Let me go back to you, Jabril. Now, you're the oldest one. You're number one. You're the first one. Talk to me about why this is important to you.
I think it's going to be therapeutic for a lot of people. I know a lot of people from the community are going to be involved in this event, but for our immediate family, our extended families, I think that, well, I know that my dad was the glue, if we're being honest, that held the majority of both sides of my family together. And as far as my aunts and uncles, cousins, nieces, nephews, at Grace Children's Academy, every single one of my aunts and uncles worked there, I believe, at some point. Every single one of my cousins went there or worked there at some point. And so it was more than just our family. It was our entire family was Grace Children's Academy. And with my dad at the helm of that family unit, after he died, I think that we lost some of our cohesion.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this event that they've planned will allow us to see cousins we haven't seen, aunts and uncles we haven't seen, people in the community we just have not seen, all on one common accord of loving on my dad. So I think it's fantastic.
And I know, Jody, and this is, I mean, you essentially lent him to us as community, but he was dad. He was, you know what I mean? He was daddy, right?
Absolutely. And I also wanted to include that another reason that we want to make sure that the community at large, and even internationally, I've heard stories of where my dad went on vacation out of the country and ran into people who he knew or people who knew of him. And so it was always a great experience to hear him come back and recognize how global he actually was without even knowing it. We want to make sure that the community is aware that there is a Ted Grace Reading Grove to continue his legacy on in the Syracuse community. And that's held in the rear of Corcoran. They have a wonderful space that is available for people to just kind of peacefully enjoy literature, spoken word, reading, and things of that nature. And we're also trying to encourage the students at Corcoran and of all the schools in the Syracuse community, and of course nationwide, to continue the legacy of reading, of writing, of spoken word, of sharing your stories with one another, of the elders passing things down and the youngers passing things up, keep us older generation in the loop in terms of what's going on within our community from every age group perspective. So we want to also promote the Ted Grace Reading Grove, which is, again, located at Corcoran in Syracuse, and basically open for anyone who just wants a very peaceful and calm and intuitive place to go and reflect and read to yourselves and to one another, so that we can keep not only my dad's legacy alive, but the legacy of literature and knowledge and reading and furthering education on as we drift through this life.
Yeah, and it's so important. And of course, all of you are examples of this, the real pride in your heritage, your African heritage. Y'all shaking your head. That was so, I mean, look at your names, right? I mean, but the fact that you have that between your mom and your dad, particularly, that you have that legacy to build on. I know that was also something very important for him to obviously give to the community, but it started at home, didn't it?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
I'm the youngest of 5, but I was always taught to love yourself, love your Blackness. I'm very pro-Black, love my people, Wakanda forever. So that definitely, it started at home, and it transitioned into the daycare. One of the first Black daycares in Syracuse, 3 locations. Like my brother said, he employed a lot of people within Syracuse.
I really, from looking at a lot of Facebook posts of today's educators, there were people that came through there that got their teaching chops that I didn't even realize. Best friends of mine, Fred Harper, Julian Hayward, there's a lot of people that I'm like, I didn't realize I was going to school with them, and they were going and getting hours in at the daycare, to be quite honest. And piggybacking off of what Zinga said about us always being taught to unapologetically love our Blackness, at the same time, we were taught inclusion. At the same time, we were always around people of other cultures. We were taught to learn other cultures. My dad was a avid learner. He was all about learning. He would pick up anything and want to master it. I think, is it true, sisters, that when he was his graduate assistant, when he was teaching at Syracuse University, was from China?
Oh yeah.
And I think he, in order to be able to speak with her better, started teaching himself Mandarin.
Yeah, I remember that.
To be able to learn. So he started teaching himself Mandarin. So, and then another culture on top of that. So, yes, he definitely all the time pro African Americans. At the same time, he was worldly, just like Jody said. He was worldly. Just to be the president of the Pan-African Society, but not be from the diaspora, that speaks a lot. That immediate culture decided to take on an American, to be quite honest.
But
that's fantastic.
But your dad would say, "I am from the diaspora," right? He would say that. He would say. He would. Okay. Yes, he would. I want to stop you right there.
Yes.
Said, "Oh no, I am."
yes. He would.
I know what you meant, though. I know what you meant.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Ted Grace. There will be a remembrance, a memorial, remembrance service, if you will, at the Southern Missionary Baptist Church, Saturday, April 20th, from 1 to 4 at 3143 Midland Avenue. I'm going to keep giving that address, but it's right at the corner of Midland and Ballantyne, Road, right there. You know where it is. Y'all know where Southern is. Don't do that to me. But guess what? If you can't make it in person, there will be a Zoom link. And, when I think about it, if you are coming in person, you're encouraged, and thank you, Zinga, for modeling. They're encouraged to have African attire. That's I think, but Jody, I know that you're hoping that people will really think about what TED has meant, and I know that people are you asking people to speak as well, or is that all set up already?
No, there's actually still space on our program for people who want to speak. Everyone has a Ted Gray story. Everyone who's walked through the daycare, whose life dad walked through, has a story, because he never just walked through. He always left little breadcrumbs everywhere he went. And so, if you want to share what that breadcrumb is, it became a loaf of bread, and the loaf of bread became a sandwich, and the sandwich became a dagwood, and all those types of things. So whatever seeds that Ted Grace dropped in your path, you just want to share with the family, with the friends, with the world, how impactful that experience was for you. We still have room on our program for you to become involved. And so what we'll do is make sure that everyone has access to the flyer that is promoting this program, where you'll be able to get in contact with my dad's brother, our Uncle Omani, and talk to him about how you can become part of the program. And also anyone who just wants to sit, listen, pray, and share with us will be able to join us via Zoom or at Southern Missionary Baptist Church as well.
1 to 4 p.m. for in-person attendance. And there's a Ted Grace Facebook page where I'm sure you'll have updates and things of that nature. 20 years remembering Ted Jamal Grace, because, he had, Jamal, that was, his other name. A lot of his friends.
You gotta put some respect on that name and add the doctor to the front.
Doctor, excuse me, doctor.
Facts,
right?
facts, big facts.
I'm reading the flyer though. Y'all ain't put that on the flyer, so don't trip.
No.
No, I'm sorry. No, you did. I'm
Mr. Kilpatrick said, if you're gonna throw shots, make sure you're not shooting duds.
Yeah, no, she did. Doctor, excuse me, put some respect on his name. Dr. Ted Jamal Grace. There we go. No, I mean, the thing is, and look at the seeds that he and Jackie, who you are in this community and what you're doing. Jabril left us, but that's okay. That's okay. But you
physical body left. I'm here with you in spirit.
Yes. He's joining us from Tennessee, but really excited to act. When Zinga sent me this, I was happy to promote it because of what I know the impact that your family had on the community, specifically your dad, and how he, like you said, he was able to move through. What's great when you are unapologetically who you are, and yet you're inclusively being able to move in all kinds of spaces. That's a special gift and a talent, because some people are afraid to be who they are and still move through. So Ted had that gift, and he was able to do that. Dr. Ted had that gift. You guys are. So who's most like your dad out of the three of you? Or is it not any of you and it's the other two that ain't here?
I think all of us, honestly. I think.
All right, I
think we all have.
So let's go through, what piece do you have of dad? Start with you, Jabril.
I am for sure mimicking my dad's parenting style with my children, for sure, 100%.
Okay.
I think he was very patient, and I think that he was a friend. You know what I mean? I think he was all of our friends.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what I get from him, just the patience with my kids.
All right, Johnny, what about you?
Well, I've been thinking about it lately, of course, and I want to just share a quick story. As you know, we're all storytellers, and we get that from mom and dad. But my dad was a realist, and he liked to let you go through your emotional stuff and pat you on the back and stuff like that. But always, it's okay now. Let's see exactly where we are with this, what we need to do, what lesson there is to learn, and all that kind of stuff. And I'll just quickly share that when I was a youth, and I had just entered the driving world and all that kind of stuff, I had let my insurance lapse. Okay, you pay a little fine, whatever, and you're back on the road. So the second time it happened, and the consequence for that is that you have to take your car off the road and catch the Central bus while you're paying a car note and insurance until the DMV says, okay, you've been punished enough. I came
Right,
up
'cause you have
this
to leave your
game
car.
plan.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I had a plan. I had a 19-year-old plan, in the head of a 19-year-old, all you have to do is to spend $500 and get a hoopty and then ask your dad to register it in his name and get insurance, which you're willing to pay for and everything. And, so that you can still be rolling and have you a good 19-year-old time. And my dad let me cry and carry on. And I can't believe the DMV and the state of New York did this. And then at the end of it, he said, you know what? I'm going to help you. And the way I'm going to help you is by living out the consequence of the decision that you made. Because consequences are all about making sure that you don't make that decision a third time. And I wouldn't be a good father and a good mentor to you if I took that consequence from you. So my gift to you is to let you languish in the consequence of the decisions that you made so that the third time does not come around. And guess what? Geico and State Farm will attest with me that I have never missed a payment. And never messed up on my car insurance ever again since I've been 19 years old.
Because
But there
your
was
father.
always a lesson. There was always grace involved. There was always patience involved. And although I left the house very mad on foot that my dad wasn't just going to hook me up, it didn't take long to understand that he was absolutely right. If he would have just bailed me out of that situation, the third time and the fourth time would have come around again. And not only would he have not been a good dad and mentor to me, he would have actually been kind of negating all of the lessons that he had taught to me growing up in the meantime. So, that was my dad. He was patient. He was loving and kind. But he was a stickler for, if you knew better, you should have been doing better. And if you didn't, then you must have had a different plan.
The gift of letting you experience the consequences of your decision. Go ahead.
He
Ted.
was not going to take that away from me. He said, far be it from me to steal this opportunity for growth from you.
All right, Zinga. That's a good story. Zinga, how are you like your father?
How can I follow that up?
I know, right? I should let you go.
No, I think I have his happy-go-lucky spirit. I'm always smiling. I am a positive person, and I love to dance like my dad. He was a dancer.
Yeah, your siblings are like, Well, I know y'all would love to see the Syracuse community come out and support. So let's remind folks again what they need to do. It's Dr. Ted Jamal Grace, 20 years later, remembering that Dr. Ted Jamal Grace, April 20th, that's a Saturday, Southern Missionary Baptist Church, 1 to 4. There will be a Zoom call, and we'll get that link for you at 2 o'clock. You can check out the Ted Grace Facebook page. African print attire is encouraged. If you know the Grace family, yes, that is encouraged. And also, they're accepting donations to the Ted Grace Reading Grove at Corcoran High School. There's a QR code if you see the flyer, and I'm sure if you go to the Ted Grace Memorial page, there's a link for you to be able to make a contribution to that. Mark your calendars,
Yeah.
and by grace, we have the Grace children
Yes.
who are here, Jabril, Jody, and Zinga Grace, which we thank you for sharing your dad with the community. I know you can talk about him in that way because of the love that he had for you and the love that you all had for him. And I'm sure that you could, that you could do this with smiles, right? Because obviously losing a father is sad, but then to be able to do this in the community, because I remember 20 years ago, it was a big at H.W. Smith and the drums and the reciting. And so it's only fitting that this memorial will have a very similar experience, I'm sure. So
Zinga, what do your students say? I think they say something like "it's a movie" or something like that. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what the students are saying these days.
It's gonna be a movie.
It's gonna be a movie. All right, then. Remember, said Jamal Grace.
Side note, Mr. Kilpatrick, we want to thank you for my dad being able to call you and your wife friends. You were a staple in our household. Everybody knows Mr. George Kilpatrick, and my parents spoke highly of you. My mom continues to speak highly of you. And so we think of you as one of our family members. And that is why my youngest sister, she won't let me call my baby sister no more. So what? That's why she reached out to you, because you will make this happen. And we appreciate you.
Anything I could do for you guys because of what your dad meant to not only our family, but to many families in the community. So that's Jabril Grace. We've got Zinga Grace, and we got Jody Grace here on Inspiration for the Nation. And look forward to seeing you April 20th, 1 to 4, Southern Missionary Baptist Church, live and in person, 3143 Midland Avenue in Syracuse. Inspiration for the Nation.
For the nation.